So recording. All right. No, I am just going to, here's our corn flour. So the corn flour that I have got is actually gluten-free corn flour so that I can take it to cooking experiences. Now the gluten-free one is actually the one from, it's not the nurse's one, which is the one that we always bought through the years. It's actually the Woolies or the Coles brand is actually the gluten-free one. Okay, so what do we need? 10 grams. Corn flour. 15, close enough. Okay, next, stir well and set aside. So I'll stir that as we go along. Okay, so then 60 grams of roasted peanuts. I'm actually going to do the full amount of those, because I'll have leftovers. And then next, insert measuring cup. There we go. So 2 seconds at speed 6. It shows me where 6 is. There we go. Wait. Transfer to a bowl and set aside. There we go. Copy them there. And I'll tilt there. So it's 2 seconds. So it's just a rough cut. I've tried a few beef salads actually. There's some really, really good ones in cookie dough. But I thought I'd try this one today. Check out how it goes. Okay, so 200 grams of onions. It actually says cut into wedges. Now what I've done, I've not just cut it into wedges. It says 4 centimeters. Because we're actually going to use the max heat function, I've done it a lot thinner and I've separated them all because I actually want the max heat to brown as much of my onions as possible. And I've found that that's actually a better way of doing it rather than just chopping fat wedges and throwing them in. I actually get a better result. And that's 146, that's close enough. And 30 grams of oil. There we go. Next, so because we're using max heat, so the TM6 actually goes up to 160 degrees, but you can only get to 160 degrees through a recipe from Cookie Dough. You can't just manually go to 160 degrees. And that is why it's very important to keep your Cookie Dough subscription running because you still want access to all the modes, all the high max heat, and then also any updates that come along. So I'm going to pop our splash guard in. Done. So it's going to go 3 minutes up to max. And I just turn it one little click because it's got a function symbol there. All right, Claire, would you like to go on? I will. We'll play Spotlight.
Hey, unmuted. Right, today I'm going to do the almond milk. Now the one that I've chosen is the American, it's actually the UK one from the Everyday Paleo 11 recipe. Now the options that you can have, just showing you here, if I push across, let's see. I go almond milk, here we go. There we go. So here's the options. There's quite a few. There's an Australian version, there is a couple of the UK and a couple American and also Canadian. The one today, as I say, we're doing the UK one that actually has using the almonds, honey, and sea salt, whereas the other ones use pitted dates and natural vanilla extract. So we'll click into here. Now with the almonds as well, what I've done, you can actually soak them overnight. I soaked them for about an hour earlier, but can be done overnight as well. So I will start here, and this says to rinse and drain 170 grams of almonds that were soaked overnight in filtered water. But as I say, if you're in a bit of a hurry, you can just do them for about an hour. So I will pop these in now. Then it's asking me to pour a litre of filtered water. Okay, just over. Okay, it's asking for a tablespoon of raw honey. So this is nice honey that my dad's bees have given me. So nice fresh honey. I pour in the tablespoon in. Okay. And a pinch of fine sea salt. And now for the slightly noisy bit, I'm going to pop the lid on and mix for 1:30.
All right, maybe if you go to mute and I'll do my next step. So spotlight and add spotlight, and I will just mute Claire. There we go. Right, so I have done my max heat. So you can see there how brown they are. Oh, no, you can't because I haven't done it. There we go. Oh, there we go. Now, obviously, if you want them browner, you would then do them longer. But that's quite a nice softening amount. And then we go next, and then we're just going to chop them for 3 seconds. Now, because it's 85 degrees, it actually is slow to start chopping. Next, scrape down the sides. Let's have a look at that. So it's just a light chop as well. Now, don't forget that you can always go back and forwards. If you think something isn't chopped enough, go back and chop it a little bit more. Okay, so 350 grams of fillet steak cut into strips. There we go there. I'm not sure it'll be 350, but it'll be what it is. Oh, 345, close enough. I'll just get my detail on my hands. Right, so place splash guard on. So I'm just going to make sure that it is spread out. around the bowl. Now, max heat, the reason it doesn't, the meat doesn't fall apart is because it actually stirs just a touch and then heats up and then stirs a little bit more. So let's pop that on. Done. So it's 7 minutes and I'm just going to go like that. It's already halfway there. So I'm not sure if you can hear it. Stirs for a little and then it's going to stop and it's going to heat up. Okay, so we'll just go back to Claire.
No, right. Okay, that's all done. So quick and easy. For the fact that you've just measured up your almonds, pop them to soak overnight or for an hour, and you've got, I think, well, it looks like it's about 1.5 litre of, if I come up here, there we go, 1.5 litre of the almond milk. Now, what I'm going to do now is pour it through a sieve. So I move some of this around and come that up so you'll be able to see. So what I've done, I didn't have a nut bag. So to unpack this a little bit, I'm using a thermo server, the round thermo server. I went to Spotlight and got about 1 metre of cheesecloth. And then I've got a sieve that fits nicely into the bowl. So I'm gonna, and I've used it a bit earlier as well. But it was great. For 1 metre, it cost $3.75. I've used 1/2 metre here, but I probably could go 1/3. So just for a couple of dollars. So here I go, I'm gonna pour in.
That's quite a lot, isn't it? That's good.
Yeah, yes. I think I didn't add up earlier, but I actually think there's more than 1 litre. There may even be 2 litres if.
How much water was there?
There was about 1 litre of water.
So it's probably just over 1 litre, and then you get rid of the pulp, so it'll be end up being about 1 litre then.
Yeah. So what I'm doing here, I'm just pushing through the milk. And now one of the there's quite a few recipes that you can choose on Cookie Dough to use the pulp. There are some crackers. There are if I can bring up later to show. There's a zucchini loaf. There is a tomato and cheese pie. So there's quite a bit that you can actually use the pulp. Whereas normally,
so there's a question, Claire.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a reason why you put the cloth under the sieve instead of the sieve on top of the cloth on top of the sieve?
Oh, okay. So what I'm doing is probably like a 2-stage. So I'm sifting through into the cheesecloth. So I've got a fair bit of on here, and then through the cheesecloth, I haven't got as much of the pulp, so that I'm making sure that I'm, really having clear milk underneath.
Oh, so it's easier to sieve the pulp first and then do the cheesecloth, which is the thinner.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So
right.
So
that's your theory. Yeah.
That's my theory. And it wasn't, it kept it quite clean and tidy. So that what I've got there. So if I move that onto here now, and then I don't have as much coming through the cheesecloth. So
but then you'd still want to do the pulp in the cheesecloth after to then get the to then have the pulp as dry as possible so you can use it again. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what I'm doing now, just there's a bit of pulp left in here, so I'm just squeezing that out as much and get as much moisture out as possible. And then what you find, I'll just leave this for now. What you find is this. That's your almond meal there, so it's a little bit softer. But I'll get a bit more out of that. I'll pop that
and then sieve and then squeeze out the other part as well, I guess, to get it.
Yes. Yeah, to get so I'm basically, I suppose, because I didn't want too much of the pulp in the cheesecloth, in the fact that if you're squeezing and pushing, you might break the cheesecloth. So by doing it through the sieve to start with, there's less pulp actually underneath, and it's a little bit softer as well. But this is pretty much how much I've got.
Awesome.
And I used the yogurt, these little jars that are for the yogurt. I actually
yogurt.
Yeah, yes. Australia. So I've got little milk bottles.
They're so cute.
They're so lovely. And as I say, I've had the neighbourhood kids around, and they were loving it, lining up at the door for almond milk, which was brilliant. But yeah,
and there's lots of people that use different milks, like non-dairy milks, for so many different reasons.
Yes, yeah. And there's lots that you can do as well. What I was looking up, because I like quite a few different nuts, and there are quite a few. You've got almonds, obviously today, cashews, macadamians. You can even do walnuts. And they've even talked about using hazelnuts as well for something different. So you can get quite a bit. Now, with these milks, they do only last probably 2 to maybe 3 days in the fridge. So it's good to share, or you can half the recipe, and so that you're not making as much. But really, for the time it takes to put a few almonds in soak in the fridge overnight, and about 1:30 in mixing it all together, you've got your own fresh milk, that all the ingredients. I'm quite pleased. I've got, I know where the honey's come from, and I've got my almonds that I buy in bulk, and made a really nice almond milk. It's quite, and it's, when you're just using the salt and honey, there's not too much of an extra flavour in there. Now, with the pulp as well, I did find a recipe on the internet that I can put up later. Just going to it now. It's from a website, is in America, thenewbaguette.com, and I came across a recipe for a granola using the almond pulp. So I thought that was quite a nice recipe to have. Just going to the recipe here.
And I guess that's where you're saving your money too, is you've not only got the almond milk for less than you would buy at the shops, you've also then got the almond milk you can then use in your cooking as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so to be able to make your crackers, to put it as a bulk up, like a vegetable loaf, and with this granola, it has equal parts almond pulp, rolled oats, some sesame seeds, coconut oil, and then your sweetness, whether or not you want to do maple syrup or honey. So I think perfect time of the year to have this kind of breakfast that you can actually probably warm up. You know, your almond pulp and oats warmed with your almond milk that you've made is, I think, a really good start to the day with some maybe fresh fruit or dried fruit on top. So,
Nice.
but I can put
Cool.
that recipe up later.
Yep.
And yeah, so, and I think.
Yep. I'll just go back to mine and then we'll come back to you in a sec.
Yep, sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool. All righty. Oh, not replace, add. There we go. All right. So I want 30 grams of fresh lemongrass. Let me just show you our beef as it looks. So it's not fallen apart at all. And when I do beef dishes, I like to use a superior cut of meat because I want to have like just beautiful meat. And if you're only having it once in a while and you're cooking it beautifully, why not? All right, so 30 grams of fresh lemongrass that I have chopped here. 21, that'll do. So reserved corn flour mixture. So if I remember that before. Oh, it's quite wet. So we'll see how we go. And then 20 grams of fish sauce. I'll do a little bit less. So I'm not a big fan. And then 10 grams of honey. So honey's fantastic. And like Claire was saying, she used her friend's honey. Now, the one time you don't want to use your local beautiful honey is when you're making honeycomb, because the beautiful local honey will burn quicker than your normal processed stuff from Woolies. So just make sure of that when you go to make your honeycomb, that you use just your store-bought stuff. Otherwise, you can use the good stuff, but you've got to reduce the amount of time that you're cooking it for. Okay, 10 grams of sesame oil, 12, close enough. Quarter of a teaspoon of pepper. There we go. Oop. And then teaspoon of hot chili or sriracha. So I've actually got sriracha. I'm going to do just a tiny little squish. I'm not a big chili fan. And then scrape the bottom of the mixing bowl just to get it all, and to because sometimes there's caramelization on the bottom when we use our max heat. All right, next insert the measuring cup. All right. And then, so 3 minutes, reverse, and slow stir and 100 degrees. All right, you got time to come back on, Claire, or shall I go to my soy? What do you think?
If you'd like to go to yours, I'm having a go at the crackers.
Oh,
So
okay, cool. Yes, we'll let you do that off camera.
Yes. I've got some more almond milk now, so I can. I think I can work it. Yes.
Yep. Awesome.
Be back soon.
Yeah, because sometimes we do these recipes for the first time on the night, so, or during the day and then on the night. So I'm going to move my camera to the other Thermomix. Hopefully everyone can see. And I am going to go to my week. Now, the soy milk recipe that I have used says metric. So it's the one from Canada. Actually, let me just share screen. And I will show you. Let me just bring up. Match. There we go. Right. Share. Can everyone see that? Now, how to go about, I'm not sure if you all know how to go about and get all of the English language recipes. So in Cookie-Doo, there's about 80,000 recipes now, good Lord. Luckily, not all of them in English. But to get so that you see, when we all purchase our Thermomix in Australia, we just get Australia as our base selection, automated selection. So what you need to do is go into your profile and change your filter preferences. So what you want is language of English and all countries. And that will then give you, when you hit explore and search, that then gives you nearly 10,000 recipes, which is fantastic. So I've typed in soy milk. Now the Australian one, how I can tell that it's Australian is I can scroll down to the bottom of the recipe and I can see what collection it's in or what recipe book it's in. So the Asian Essentials, but this one actually asked for pandan leaves and I decided I wasn't going to do that. So I have chose the soy milk metric, which means it is from Canada, because America and Canada have their recipes. Obviously, America is ounces in Fahrenheit, and then Canada is in metric, and they work together. Let me stop sharing there. Let me just, okay, so I'm just going to let my beef sit there for a couple of minutes because it actually stays hot in the bowl while I do my soy milk. Right, so start cooking. Now I've already done this. I put the simmering basket on top of the bowl. Then I weighed in 200 grams of soybeans. And then I put it into warm water, and I've actually done it from about 10:30 this morning. So that's several hours, and I've got my soybeans there. Let me show you the packet that I bought. So this packet here, and it's product of Australia, so it's very exciting. I bought it at my Asian grocer. So that's a kilo that I bought for about $4.50. So divide that by 5, and you'll get about 60 cents-ish. So then that is heaps cheaper because I actually priced soy milk today in Woolies. It was about $2.60 to $3 for a litre. So I've discarded the soaking water and I've rinsed my soybeans. So place my rinsed soybeans into my bowl. There we go. So 1165 of cold water, a very specific amount. $10, I haven't got quite enough. Oh, about 160 left. So has anybody made milks, non-dairy milks, and found success and then used the pulp for other things? Has anyone got any recipes that you could suggest? Please feel free to come off mute and let us know, or pop it in the chat. Oh, 1164, that'll do. All right. So insert measuring cup. And then 30 minutes. Holy crap. Did I not read the recipe? Okay. That's not very good. I thought it was 3 minutes. Okay. So measuring cup, and then, all right. So let us pretend that I've done that. I'm just going to whip it. I'm going to change it down because I want to show you what I've done. I've actually got a nut milk bag from the mix shop. There's my one. And there's my container. And what I was just going to do was pop that in there and then squeeze it out that way and do it that way. But let me go back and I'll do it anyway and I will report back. But I can talk to you though. Made Asian soy milk. Yes, the pulp is Okara. That's, yep, sub about, yep, baker's flour and all that sort of stuff. Actually, that's a bit noisy. So I am going to just chat through. I will do my beef and then I'll talk through all the things that I know about soy milk as well. Let me take that off and show you. So there's our beef salad. Did you have anything? Oh, 100 grams of dry soybeans to get 1 litre of milk. Oh, that's good. That would have been much faster than what I was just doing. And that would probably be the other one. Do you, do you put pandan leaves in or do you use a sweetener at all? If you can let us know. Yes, I went down a rabbit hole the last few days looking at the Okara and stuff like that. All right, so no pandan, but 50 grams of rock sugar. Oh, nice. Excellent. Okay, so here is my beef, and then I'm going to jazz it up with my lime, a couple of chilies on top. Actually, 2 limes. And that was super quick. That looks really good, actually. And with the mint and the coriander and the lettuce, I would actually maybe swap out the lettuce for baby spinach as well at some point. Okay, so like we said, Okara, I'm probably not even saying that correct, is the soybean pulp. So it's got iron, omega-3 fatty acids, dietary fiber, vitamin B2, like blah, blah, all the stuff. Compared to other plant foods, it's relatively high in protein, which is fantastic. And so you can just use it chunky like that. But fresh Okara has a short lifespan. So after making your soybean pulp, it needs to be refrigerated and used within 2-3 days. And I'm assuming the same with the, let's go to recipe detail, the same with the soy milk, consume within 3 days. There you go. And variations for an oat flavored soy milk, you can add 45 grams of oats. But you can actually dry it out in the oven. There's some really good instructions here. Put it on a large baking sheet at 150 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Let it cool and then put it in an airtight jar or grind in a food processor. So you Thermomix to make a fine flour and then store the flour for 6 months. So like all of these things from, $1.60 of soybeans. That's fantastic compared to how much it costs to buy all these sorts of stuff. And then, so this one says add to stir fries, baked goods. So as I was saying, vegetarian patties, burgers, meatballs, uses breadcrumbs in meatloaf, make a porridge out of it, add eggs for a delicious breakfast scramble, granola, such as what Claire was doing, and mix in 1 to 2 tablespoons into smoothies or blended drinks. So that's fantastic, all the different things that you can use it for. How are you going there, Claire? Ooh. I'll replace spotlight. Ooh.
I found the mixture a little bit soft. So by having the extra pulp, I just added it in. And basically this has got flax seeds, rosemary, some garlic, but you can put whatever you wanted in. If I go back to the recipe details on here, that's what, bring that there. Oopsie, get there. So it's the rosemary and parmesan almond pulp crackers. So now I've got a couple of options. The fact I've never made this before, it obviously tells me, if I continue down here, it tells me to actually cut with a sharp knife before putting it in the oven. Now I have these cracker rollers, but I don't know whether or not they'd actually work. Part of me is tempted to find out.
Give it a whirl. Go on.
Otherwise,
I use a I don't use a knife. I use a pizza cutter. That's like, it's really quick and easy for crackers. Yeah.
Well, as an example, if I do just the top part and see if it actually works, because I've been dying to
go on.
So let's have a look. So yeah. Oops. No.
Oh.
We've we did half.
Okay.
We got half on here. Obviously that's a bit of a soft bit. So I could just put that back in.
Maybe did you need to strain more of the pulp out, do you think?
Yeah.
Even though but it did say to add water though, didn't it? For the actual mixture.
It did say. But I wonder whether or not I haven't squeezed out enough of the pulp. And also a bit naughty. I kind of skipped a step in putting the other pulp in before putting it in the fridge. I think the trick is that it's really cold, the mixture. But I think it's worth playing about with and having it quite thick instead of, and I think with the recipe where it did say put 3 tablespoons of water in at the end, I don't think it actually needed it. So, and I think if there's less moisture, then it becomes more of a ball, and then you put it in the fridge for about half an hour. I think it then hardens a bit. Yeah. And so then you would ideally quickly roll it out on here. And I think because it would be cold and a little bit harder, I think the rolling would help. Would work a bit better. But also I think my first
it's a good start though.
It's a good start. I'm dying to work this. But actually, the first lot was quite good. So I think if you kind of went over it lightly, then I think it would work. And then this goes on an oven tray into the oven, and then then you can break them all up. So I think good practice run. So
fantastic.
But what a great way to use the pulp as well.
Fantastic. And yet again, you're saving money and you're not wasting, because people normally make things and then throw out the pulp. There's so many different things that you can do with it. Even let me just share screen again and I will type in. So if you just go into so I've just put almond pulp, and look, lots of the galette, the cakes, they look awesome. There's the ones that Claire's doing now. It's a rosemary and parmesan pulp crackers. There's bread, you know, the torta caprese. Has anyone made that? That is fantastic. It's just a beautiful gluten-free chocolate cake that obviously you use your almond meal with it, and it's fantastic. We always used to make it for our cooking classes. It's a real winner, especially with if you've got a gluten-free guest coming over. It's absolutely beautiful, something to have that everybody, you know, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. So, which is fantastic. Awesome. So if everybody goes on, is everybody in the Thermo Empire group? Otherwise, reach out to your consultant and we'll share the pictures of tonight. Obviously, mine took longer than I thought. 3 minutes is 30, but I'd still love to show you what I've got left over, and I might actually dry out my akara and show you how that looks once it's dried out and then processed into soy powder. So that would be cool as well. That looks good, Claire. So you're actually having to cut down into it?
I am. I just thought I would do that, but what I found out was if I must have got a bit heavy-handed in the middle, if I go over it lightly, I was able to get the cracker design. And then I'm just going to, because these obviously, you're usually working with a dough when you're using this.
Rather than
like a soft mixture. But I thought if I run down just gently with a knife, then put that in the oven, and then I can take some photos and show for later. So
awesome.
I think it's trial and error sometimes. But I also think I think I don't like to buy crackers if I can make them. There's a couple of cracker dishes on Cookie Dough that are so quick and easy. The seeded ones, I think. You know, they're done in 5 minutes, the prep.
And I found my recipe. I love the I think they're like cranberry and you know, the expensive ones that you get for your cheeses, the cranberry and sunflower seed. I actually found the recipe that I'd printed out like probably 12 months ago today when I was going through some books. So I'm going to give that a bell over the weekend and see how I go and see how close I can get to those expensive crackers, because I'd love to be able to make them a lot cheaper and, you know, knowing I'll share it in Lisa team leader and in our Thermo Empire group. Okay, so for soybeans it's preferable to soak for a few hours and change the water. Definitely. I think I soaked for probably 9 hours and then rinsed through as well, which was good. So awesome. That looks good, everyone. Thank you so much for coming along. Was there anything, any questions that anybody had? Anything else you wanted to talk about, Claire?
No, all good from me.
I think it's fantastic, especially those other nut milks as well, to get different flavors in your nut milks. That would be fantastic rather than just having the same thing all the time, even if you're into dairy. And
even oat milk, I quite like that. That's oat milk. So that's good. Actually nice in coffee.
Okay, cool. Which recipe did Claire use? She used the one from
I
England.
use, so if I go to my week,
And then just turn your
use-
camera a little.
yeah, here we go. Oops, that I can never get this right. Sorry. Can you see that?
Yep. So that one with that picture.
Yeah. But I actually,
and it's from Britain.
I
Yeah.
have all the links. It's that one in particular is from the paleo book, but I will double check that. It's the one that actually has back down. It's the one that has the total time of 8 hours and 40 minutes. Because it's quite funny. A lot of them that you'll look at will say, "Oh, it only takes you an hour." But they still mention about soaking overnight sometimes. But as I say, you can also soak quickly. But if you go down,
if everyone stays on for a second, I will put them in the chat, so then you can get a copy.
Yeah, I can probably get my phone
that
as
one.
well.
Copy.
I'll just go to cookie dough.
Yep, so that's your one. And then the beef one was the lemongrass beef salad.
And that's the rosemary pulp crackers. And Wendy, it was almond, my one.
And mine was soy, and I got a little out of hand.
And I will put also on the chat the website to the granola. And that was the
baguette. Yeah.
One is,
and I'll put the link to the info that I got.
hopefully.
Yeah. There we go. So hopefully everyone can use those links. We'll give you a couple of minutes to copy and paste and all that sort of stuff. Otherwise, I'll put them on my Facebook, and if you put yours on as well, Claire.
Yeah.
On your Facebook, put the links.
I've put
there's what to do with. Yeah.
Yeah, the almond pulp.
Yep. Awesome.
And yes, I'll take some photos of my crackers when they're finished.
Yes, and I'll take photos of my my soy milk once once I've done it, and then dried out the pulp as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes, the process. Awesome. I'll go back saving them. So if you click on them so that they open, and then however you normally save your websites and stuff like that, you should be right. Otherwise, just note down the name. So Runaway Rice and the new baguette were the two websites that we used, and then just Cookie Dough as well. Okay, awesome. 56 minutes. Giddy up.
Yes.
We're doing pretty well, sticking to our 45-minute time frame. But that's all right. Awesome. Well, hopefully we gave you some interesting information, and we'll see you again next week. Does anyone have any suggestions for things that we can explore next week? Pop in the chat, or yeah, just let us know. Because yeah, we love to explore new things. This has been really good. I've learned a lot. Thank you so much, everybody. And yeah, thanks very much. I'm not sure if it's A or I. Yeah, thank you so much for your information as well. That was really good to know too. Thank you. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Unless you've got something to ask, let me know.
No.